Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for joining us for the second of our sessions this semester. And of course, we're focusing on the tool H5P. It's a request that we got from faculty. My name is Michelle Stewart McCoy. I am the faculty developer or educational developer, you may hear, with responsibility for the technologies, educational technologies. And so I am, as usual, I am joined today by Mr. Dominic Williams. Dominic is our administrative support person who is responsible for the technology. And I do this to him every week. Dominic, turn your camera on, please, and just say hi.
Yeah, afternoon, everybody. My name is Dominic, and I'll be here assisting. This is McCoy.
Thank you, Dominic. All right. So we only have an hour. This is a webinar. Just a quick little disclaimer. The webinars, as you may have noticed, are shorter. They're only an hour, lunch and learn. And so we don't have a lot of time for hands-on activity. We try to ensure that there's some interaction, but we only have an hour. So that's one. Two, what we do is for teaching and learning purposes. And so when we share our videos, the videos are sent to the other participants who register, and we also put it on our website. When we do so, it means that we have captured names, comments, expressions during the session. If there's anybody who is uncomfortable with this, who do not wish to have your name or your comment highlighted in this session, please let us know so that we can remove it before we share the video. All right. So we're trying to ensure that we respect your privacy. And then the third and final thing is I will be working on two monitors. So I will be shifting my view from time to time. It's simply because I'm looking at the other monitor. All right. So that's the only thing for it. So are we ready? Are we excited about what we can do as we transform our learning with our students? So welcome again. Thank you very much for coming. And we're going to start with an activity. So what we want to do is we want to put you in rooms. So we're going to put you in 3 rooms. As others come, they will join the respective rooms. But we're going to start out with you exploring an image hotspot to get a little feel of what the students would engage in. Now, the hotspot is the activity is you exploring a hotspot, which talks about a hotspot. So you are going through learning about it, but you're clicking and exploring as your students would. When we come back after 15 minutes, we are going to have a quick little discussion before we go over into the Moodle platform, the VLE, to create something similar. So we're starting out with an activity. Mr. And you are going to, so quickly, when you go to the rooms, you will each get a student account. All right. So you're going to be exploring my course in the Valley as a student. So each group will get a different student, and then you will select one person who will explore so that the rest of you can see what is happening, have a quick little discussion. And I'll also come around to the room so that you're not left on your own. All right. So Mr. Williams, if you could open the groups, please, and then we'll also pause the recording until we come back together. All right, colleagues. So we are back together, and I know that it was short, and it was a little bit fumbled, but we can talk about what just happened. So, anybody from any group, what just happened? How did you feel? Is this something that you could use with your students to teach a session? A few quick comments, please. And then I'll just, for those who didn't get the chance to see what was happening, I'll do a quick show and tell so we can continue. So anybody can respond. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, well, very quickly, Brian Coburn here. I like it very much. In particular, how you can turn text into graphics and so encourage a lot more engagement than you would normally have.
That is true. Thank you so much. Anybody else? Just one more quickly.
Oh, and the option for mixed media as well, and to include links to other sites.
Okay,
Very powerful.
beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, thank you so much, Brian, that was. And yes, that is
To realize that it takes a lot of planning and
uh
preparation.
I I I don't know if it takes that much. Um I don't know if it takes that much planning.
I would say yes and no, in that it
Yes,
requires you to think about your lesson in a different way.
exactly. But the truth is, you would have already had the content because this is from what you would have been teaching. So the content would have already been there. It's just a matter of how you package it. I see here in the chat that Geraldine says that she doesn't think that she would use this with her students. This is exactly the kind of activity that I feel makes activities for diverse learning groups a lot less inclusive. Could you expand a little bit more for us, please, Geraldine?
Hi, sorry. I think for learners that, for example, would be using screen readers or that maybe are using phones because they don't have access to laptops, that would be very difficult to like tap around on. I also feel like it disjoints the learning experience so that, again, depending on the students' background, it might make it more difficult to actually remember where they left off if they, have other engagements that they need to attend to. Um, so yeah, I don't necessarily feel that I would be using it, but it might also be that I personally don't like it when I have to do activities like this where I just want to get the information and then I actually have to click so many times that I also lose where I was going, and it's harder to take notes. And so I'm still not quite sold. So let's see.
Oh, that's fine. And I'm happy that you have made this point because
Yeah.
one, it means that it depends on your learners. So one, you have to take the learners into consideration. Two, it depends on the purpose of the activity. If this is something that you are setting up for students to explore on their own, it means that there are several things that you may have to consider if you want them to follow a particular path. So you may have to number them that this is first, this is second, and so forth. So that is something that you could think about. Three, it can be used on mobile devices, so laptops and tablets as well. And there is a download feature where the students can download and go through on their own, except for where it requires them to connect to the internet for the video, because the videos that I had are videos that are linked to YouTube there, but you could set it so that the students can download and go through on their own. So when it comes on to inclusiveness, one of the features and one of the things that they brag about H5P is that it does take that particular element into consideration. But I do understand you have to start out with who your students are, the purpose of the activity, and how you will put it together for them. So thank you so much for raising that point. All right. For those who did not get a chance to see what was happening, I'm just going to do a quick share of the yes, you can place numbers on the hotspot if there is a sequence that you would like the students to follow. So that's a question from Nadia. Thank you so much for that question, Nadia. Before I share, I may not need to share. Did everybody get a chance to see the hotspot? Did everybody get a chance to move around? Well, one person would have moved around in each group. All right, so let me just do just a quick share. so that it's captured on the recording. All right, so I'm gonna change my role to student. So I won't log in with the student account as you did. All right, and then this is the activity. No, oh, the other thing that Geraldine mentioned, which is very, very good. You may have seen one of the points that say you don't put everything in. It's more about exploration and thinking. And then it says about 5 to 8. This definitely has too many hotspots on it. Ideally, it should have about 5 to 6 so that the students are not overwhelmed. I put in everything because I wanted you to get a feel of what it could look like, what could go wrong. So this has too many. So there's a start here. And so if there are different, if there is a particular order you want, you could easily put that. So we look at what is possible when we are setting it up, and then we look at what we can do with the image. So you start here and it gives you a welcome and some onboarding. And in this, it also gives you the learning outcome. So it is clear to the students what it is that they're going to do. And there is just a little image, decorative purposes only, of the curator holding the exploration glass so that they can go through. And then of course you click on each. There is a recording that it says below the image, which for students who don't want to just read alone, you're including students who want to listen. So the listening element is there. And then there is, I think there's one with a video that captures, so as Brian pointed out, there is a multimedia aspect. So they're learning what it is, and they also have the video, which they can watch here or they can watch on the YouTube. So the students, it's ideal for self-paced, or if you're in a synchronous session, it could be guided where the teacher decides on how to go, guided by students. So this is the hotspot, and essentially you have learned that a hotspot is a clickable area, yes? So it's as an area on an image that you click that reveals or uncovers more information. And it is considered something useful because you can pack a lesson that has different elements in one image. So just on an image. Of course, if you were going through closely, you would have realized that it said it's about the learning. So you don't simply put a hotspot in for the sake of putting a hotspot in. You have to put a hotspot in because this is important. This is something that you want the students to learn. This is something you want the students to explore or to reflect on. Okay, so any other comments or questions before we go into the VLE and create our own? We're going to create the session, and then we are going to put it in the VLE so that the students can have access to it. Any questions? Any comments before we go? All right, so let us look at what we would do if we were setting up an interactive image. Now, by now you would have realized that you can do this for any course. So it doesn't matter the discipline, you can set up an interactive image so that it can be used on in any of your courses and with just about any subject area. One of the first things that you would have to do is to ensure that you have your content together. So you look at the topic that you want the students to explore. You look at your learning outcome. What should the student be able to do at the end? So you're not setting this multimedia resource up for the sake of setting it up. You're setting it up because you want them to go through it so that they can advance more when it comes on to the assessment. So the topic, the learning outcome, the activity, and the assessment must be aligned. All right. So you get your content together. That's your text. You get your videos if you're going to be doing videos. You get your audio and you organize them in a folder. I have organized mine right here, and I've put everything together in my folder, including a Word document which has the text that I would be using. So in order for you not to waste too much time, the first thing you would do is to organize your content. The next thing you do, you log into the VLE, and the first thing we have to do before we can make this available to the students is to create it in the VLE. So I'm going to return to my normal role, and I am going to go to more. So on the course main page, I go across to more and I go down to content bank. Content bank is where I'm going to be setting it up. Now, when we met in the last session, I had pointed out that if you already have created it, you could upload it here. But because we're going to be creating it on the VLE, we need to click on add. Is everybody with me?
Following.
Okay, great. All right, so we're going to click on add, and then we're going to scroll down and we're going to look for image hotspot. So it's in alphabetical order, and there it is, image hotspot. And that is going to open the interface that we're going to be working on. Okay, now the course that you explored just now is called Game-Based Learning in the Caribbean. It is a fictitious course. I use it for samples. And for this particular lesson, let me just open this for you. It's game-based learning in the Caribbean. It is unit 1, and so I want my students to look at gamification versus game-based learning. So the title is going to be game-based learning versus gamification. All right, so that is the title of my hotspot. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is that I need to put the background image. The background image is the image onto which I will be putting my hotspots. So when I click on add, it means that it's going to ask me, where is this image that I want? And so I'll have to go and look for it. Okay, so here is what I was working on earlier. This is where I need to go to get my image. So I'm just going to where I have my information and image hotspot, and here they are. So this is the image that I need. That is going to be my background. I already selected it. I used AI to help me generate a game-based looking map that I could use. All right, so this is the background image. And then for students who may have issues with computer loading and so forth, it is usually good for us to have some kind of alternative text. So I'm going to put gamified map. Okay. And then I need to go down to the predefined icon. This is where I can decide what it would look like. Is it going to be a plus sign, a minus, times, a check, a question mark, info, or exclamation? No, it doesn't allow numbers. So we can't really say, start here, go there, and then that one next. So it means that we could do a quick workaround by putting these images, these numbers on the map before we upload it. All right, so we select any one of these. I had used the exclamation before. I'll just use it again so we can see. And this is going to be the color of the icon, the thing that you're going to click on each time. So you can just click on that and decide to change the color to something brighter, darker, different color altogether. I leave it as it is for now. And then this is where we begin deciding what content goes where. All right, so it said, you'll see, I don't know if you can see it clearly. I'm going to press the plus button here so that you see it bigger. So there's that little pulsing circle. This tells us where the information is actually going to go. So what is it that the students would click? So let me start right here. So I want the first thing to be here. Okay, so now that I have located, put it there, I can minimize. And then it asks for if I want if I want it to cover the entire image. I don't, because I have other things that I want to add to my image. So I'm not going to select this. Where it says header, this is where I am going to put the first thing that I'm going to talk about. All right. Now we're putting the information here, because when students put the cursor over on the exclamation mark, what will happen is that they will get a preview of it before they click. So it's a hover button. And so I put the header in here. And then pop-up content is where the content goes, whether it is text, audio, image, video, or a combination. So when I click the drop down here, right under pop-up content, I see text, video, image, audio. So I can decide what goes where. All right. So let us say I want to
Question.
start.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Should we be seeing your screen?
You're not?
I am not. I'm not sure if anybody else is.
Is anybody seeing my screen?
Yes,
seeing the
I'm seeing the
screen.
screen.
Yes, I'm seeing.
I am.
Okay.
For
I'm not
some reason,
sure.
I only see you. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So at the top of Zoom, there are two tabs. One that says meeting screen and one that says Michelle's screen or something like that.
Got you. Yes.
Yes.
Thank
All
you.
right. You're welcome. Okay, so let us say that we want to put an image first and then we put the information. So I click on image, and then it says that I should add the image. So I've selected the image. Now I'm going to add the image. I click on add. And then it's going to carry me to the folder. And here I have some students who are playing a game. So I click on the image, and again, I can put that is decorative only. And then it asks me for alternative text. Again, we do this for inclusion purposes, so students are not left out if it doesn't load. All right. And so I will put students playing a board game. All right. And I can spell. Okay. And then, so that's just the image. I want to also add some text. So I click on add text. This is the same hotspot. And then this time I click on text, and then I would put the text that I want to appear there. All right. So again, I've already put all the information together. Now what I'm doing is I'm copying and pasting. So when the person asks, oh, it looked like it's a whole lot of work. Yes and no, as somebody else had pointed out. You have the content, put it together. Just spend some time deciding what you're going to put where and how. Right. So I have my text, I put it in, and then I can click save. Now remember, I am working in the VLE. So I click save. And when I click save, I can take a look at it. So this is what it would look like. There is my purple exclamation sign. When I hover, you will see what is game-based learning. So the students get an idea of what is right here. And then when I click on it, it has the image of them playing the game, and then it has the explanation of what it is. And then, of course, they click close to come out of it. I am still in the VLE, so I can continue. So I can click on edit. And so that's the first hotspot, and that's the information. In order to add other hotspots, I click on add hotspots. It gives me the image again. I select another area that I want the information to go, and then I continue. I want to add text. This time I'm going to add text and a video. All right. So let me put a video so that you see how that works. So for this, I want to put text first. So I click on text, and then I click inside the box to put the info. Hold on there, I didn't put the header. All right, so I put the header, and that is not what I would need for the header, is it? All right, let us say this is where I reach. So I have done all my other hotspots, and this is the last one. And then I am making a distinction because I have gone through what is game-based learning, what is gamification, and this one is looking at both and why it is important. So I've added my text, but I also want to add something else. I want to add a video. So I'm going to click on video. There are two ways you can add the video. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to put the name of the video. So I'm going to put games versus gamification. So this is looking at a distinction. When I click on video source, I can either upload the video or I can paste a YouTube link. If you have your video on hand, then you can click upload, look for it, and upload it. If you don't have a video and you have a YouTube link that you want to use, you click on enter the URL here. So I had uploaded 2 videos. So this one is the one I want. So I click on it.
Today,
And
let's
I
break down 2 of the
copy-
biggest buzzwords you'll find in education. You've
I
heard
copy the URL, all right? And so I paste it here, okay? And then I click on insert. So that is if I'm in upload, doing it from YouTube, okay? And so it asks me, do I want to have a poster image? These you can leave alone. These you can leave, okay? Then I click save. If you want to add another hotspot, you add another hotspot. But after you save, you get a chance to preview it. So this is the last one. It has the information, it has the video, and when I click play,
Today, let's break down 2 of the biggest
video
buzzwords you'll
plays. All right. So it means that my students can see that. It is always important for you to test it first. Now, all I have done here is I have created it in the content bank. I haven't added it to the course as yet. All right, so here it is. So now I go back to my course. So I have created it just as how I would have created anything else. I'm now going to add it. So I go to where in the course I want to put it. So I want to put it in my level 1. So here I am. I make sure that my editing is turned on. And this particular lesson deals with gamification, game-based versus. So I click on add an activity or a resource, and then I look for H5P. You can filter by activities if you want. And then I click on H5P. I give it a name. So I'm going to call it level 1.1 games versus gamification. I can put a description in. I say explore the differences between the 2. Okay. And then where it says files, I click, but I wouldn't go to upload a file. I go to the content bank because all H5P content is kept in the content bank. And there it is, my game-based learning versus gamification. I click on that. The information comes up, I click select, and there it is. And then, of course, because this is a resource, it doesn't have any activity where you can test students, not in the traditional way. Tomorrow, we're going to be looking at that. You can select allow download. So the concern about whether or not students can have it if they're not connected to the internet, you can adjust that where they can actually download it. You don't have to grade it. So we're not grading it here. So I'm going to select none. And because I'm not grading it, I don't have to worry about this. So I'm just going to put no for that. And the rest of it is fine. So I click, I can save and display, or I can save and return to course. I'm saving and returning to course so that you see where it is. So here I am. This is a section. This is the lesson. This is my learning outcome. And I have this activity which will help the students to distinguish between the 2 and to note examples. Let me go into student mode. When I go into student mode, I will see just that and I will click on it. You can put some more indicators if you want. Click to begin, click to learn. Okay. And then it tells me that it is not showing that, and then it's giving me this message. I'm not sure why it is giving me this message today. It didn't earlier. So let me just go back to my role and see what is happening. Right. So, okay. Okay, so here it is. It's under level 1 gamification versus game. The students will see this. It says that they should mark it as finished when they're finished. And then of course you can tell them that they can put it in full screen mode if they want. So there are some students who may want to see it bigger. You explain that to them, and then they would go through, look at the information. You can also test this on your phone. So you can test this on your phone before you share it with your students. So you have an idea what it would look like to your students. You test the video as well. If you want them to have some reading material as well, you can do so by having another hotspot that gives them the readings with the links. When they click the link, it opens, as you would have seen with the trial run. And that is it. That is how you create a hotspot in the VLE and make it available to your students. All right. Any questions? Did I lose anybody? Any comments?
It was quite simple, Doc.
Very simple. It really is simple once you have done the planning aspect of it. So with any teaching and learning activity, you have to do the planning first, and then you follow through on the VLE or whatever it is in the tool that you want. Any other comments or questions? Any burning thing that you want? So just quickly telling you again, you get all the information that you need, all right? And then you go to the VLE, you go to the course that you're going to be setting it up in, and then you go to more and select content bank. It is in the content bank that you will click on add, and you will search for the image hotspot, and you create your hotspot. You have to have your background image, you have to have your text, and if you're thinking of putting in audio or video, you do so, you know, ensure that is in the folder that you want before, and you test it before, okay? But as with everything else, you have to start with the learning objectives. It is about what it is you want the students to be able to do with this particular topic in this particular course. Will this activity, will this resource help them to master the content that I'm trying to teach? And then no more than five, six. And again, depending on the purpose, the level of your students, you probably want to use fewer. If you're using undergrad first year students, the ones who are more seasoned, you can probably give them 6 to the 8 that we were told is a best practice. For your graduate students, you also think about the quality of the content that you put in and the kind of reflective prompts and questions that you may want to add in. Include your hyperlinks so that students can explore more outside of what you're providing. And always, if you're using videos, test the videos before, test the audio before. When I was setting mine up first and I put in the video, it told me that the video, the format was not allowed, even though it was an allowable format. So you will still have to test it. And then if you have students, a number of students are using, more and more students are using mobile devices, also test it on a mobile device. So log into your phone, log into your tablet to see what that looks like. And start small. You don't have to start with the entire learning objective, having all the hotspots that you want. You may decide that you're only going to do 2 hotspots and you're going to make them be text-based, or you're going to do 2 and you're going to record your voice and put those up. So you don't have to do the full gamut. In fact, we're not encouraging you that for every hotspot you have text, image, video, and audio. That is just overload, and the cognitive load is going to be too much for our learners. So start small, document the process, look at what works, look at what doesn't work, get feedback from your student, formal or informal feedback, so you can have an idea of how they engage with the material. Note these things, keep what works and try it again, and take it in baby steps. But we encourage you that if we're looking for engagement, if we really want to get our students engaged, you have to think about different ways that you can bring the different media in, have the metacognition going on. You put in your questions, even though for an image hotspot, it doesn't require them to respond, but you can follow up in a synchronous or an asynchronous session or a face-to-face class with that. But this is one tool out of all the other tools that they are at your disposal. And so you have to select wisely about whether or not this tool could answer the question, could engage your students a little bit more, could include more students, could have them engaging in different activities that will help them ace the final assessment. All right. And again, because it doesn't give, if you want them to follow a particular path, you have to then on the image before you uploaded the background image, you could put tiers or numbers or letters which would give a certain path, and definitely inform them in the VLE that they should start here, then go there, then go there. All right. The game map does something similar, but it doesn't unlock for further information until they have completed that. So that would take care of that kind of linear progression. All right. Any questions?
This is a simple one. Is the software a part of the VLE platform, or is it a standalone software that is incorporated in?
This that we're doing, everything we're doing, we're working in the VLE. So there is a tool that is a standalone tool that I use quite a bit. I use it and then upload to the VLE. That's called Lumi. The session that you explored has our recordings, but we'll fix that so that you can have access to that, because it has some readings, it has some recordings of what we have done before, and it certainly has the Lumi. So the Lumi is a standalone that you can download, work on. I like it because if the internet is gone, I can still work on it on my desktop. What we're doing is we're working in the VLE, because many persons don't realize that this is integrated into VLE. It's right there at your fingertips. All you need to do is log in and explore. So the series that we're doing, we're working in the VLE. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Nice.
Okay.
That's cool. I didn't even know that the VLE had so many capabilities.
Yeah,
So that's cool.
The overview session, and we are going to send you that video again. The overview
Okay.
session that we did the week before, it has all the different interactions, some 53 different interactions, where it is located, where you can find it, and that sort of thing. So we'll share that with you again.
Wonderful.
Okay, great.
Thanks for a great session, Doc.
My pleasure. As usual, we're going to ask for your feedback. We want to know what we're doing well, what we're not doing so well, what it is that you want to see. So Mr. Williams will share that with you. And then as soon as the recording becomes available, we'll share that with you. What I will do, I will use the Lumi and save the exploration, the sample hotspot, so that you can have that on your own without logging onto the internet, so you can explore some more. So as soon as we do that, we'll share that with you. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you, Mr. Williams, as usual. And we'll see you tomorrow for a workshop, hands-on. We are going to ask if you're coming. We're going to send an email out about what it is you must come with, because we're looking at the question set, how we can set up activities. That's not the Moodle quiz, so students can engage. So thank you so much for coming. Have a good afternoon, and we will see you tomorrow, all things being equal.